Today we are going to be talking about neuroplasticity. For non-traditional college students who are coming back to school after being away for some years, this may be a new concept to you. But for those of you who are recent high school graduates or even taking college classes while still in high school, this may be a familiar topic. The science is relatively new and just filtering into classrooms and shaping the way we approach teaching and learning. Many people believe that your brain contains a certain amount of intelligence that cannot be increased. When you are born, you are as smart as you'll ever be. For example, think about how intelligence has long been measured by IQ scores and how in the not too distant past, those scores have been used to place students into academic rankings or levels. On the other hand, some people think that we're all born with the same amount of intelligence and that some people become smarter by working hard at learning. Recent research has found that the latter belief to be true, that your brain is like a muscle, and the more you practice something, the better you become. This is known as neuroplasticity. But what causes this plasticity? Adaptive plasticity is the ability of the brain to adjust to experience, adapt to function losses, and maximize function after brain damage. This means that your brain will rewire if it is asked to. This is where those classroom light bulb moments come from. Our brain suddenly understands what you are asking of it, and it begins to understand new ideas. This is also why people who experience traumatic brain injury can heal. The brain isn't actually healing itself. It's working around the injured areas. It's building new neural pathways. When we see a child who's learning to read, we don't think that he's stupid if he can't do it on the first try. How many people can ride a bike? Were you able to do it in the first try? Not likely. You may have fallen a few times or even used training wheels until you were ready to do it alone. Finally, many people consider Michael Jordan to be the best basketball player of all time. However, Jordan was cut from the Laney High School varsity basketball team. He wasn't considered good enough to play with the upperclassmen. This made him work harder. The lesson here is that we learn through effort and through failure. Carol Dweck, a prominent social science researcher, has done a great deal of research on mindsets, and she separates them into two categories: fixed mindset and growth mindset. Let's look at all of the differences between the fixed and growth mindsets. According to Carol Dweck, people with a fixed mindset believe that intelligence is static. This leads to a desire to look smart, and therefore they have a tendency to avoid challenges. On the other hand, people with a growth mindset believe that intelligence can be developed. This leads them to have a desire to learn and embrace challenges. One of the big areas where I see a fixed mindset in action is when it comes to math. Many students struggle with math throughout grade school so that by the time they reach college, they have developed a belief that they aren't good at math. They come into my office, sit down, and announce that they want to come back to college and they want to go into any program that doesn't include math. Basically, there are no such programs. This fixed mindset about math becomes a paralyzing fear that limits their options and stunts their academic growth. I want to share a little story with you about one student I worked with who demonstrated a remarkable growth mindset. Several years ago, this young man came to me interested in entering our biomedical equipment technology program. That is a program that teaches students how to repair and maintain medical equipment. He had two options regarding what math class to take. One was a lower level tech math class. The other was Math 171, pre-calculus algebra. The tech math would fulfill the program requirements, but Math 171 is a transferable math class. The student had done very well on his math placement test, so I asked him if he wanted to take the more advanced math option in case he decided to transfer in the future. He opted for the higher level math class. Well, on the first day of class, he called me in a panic. He told me that he already knew that he was in way over his head. He said that the math he saw on the board and in his textbook were unrecognizable to him, and that he wanted to be switched to the lower level course. At that point, though, there were no seats available in the other class. He thought that he might drop the Math 171 class, but we realized that that would delay his graduation by an entire year. So he decided to stick with the class. He came back to me halfway through the semester and told me this amazing story about what he had done. He had sought tutoring right away, and he had started reviewing Khan Academy lessons online in his free time. Eventually, the math started to click, and he started to do well in the class. He eventually did so well in the class that his instructor asked him to assist with tutoring his classmates. He walked out of the class with a very well-deserved A, and it was all because he adopted a growth mindset and embraced the challenge. When people with a fixed mindset encounter obstacles, they give up. The growth mindset persists in the face of setbacks. They see obstacles as challenges instead of roadblocks. The fixed mindset believes that if they have to put effort into something, then they can't do it at all. Well, the growth mindset knows that they can only master something by putting effort into it. Fixed mindset ignores negative feedback instead of using it constructively. Well, the growth mindset knows that criticism is important in order to learn and improve. In reflecting on my own life, I can see how I have approached some things with a fixed mindset and others with a growth mindset. When I was young, I was always praised for my writing. I was told, "Oh, you're such a good writer. Maybe someday you should become a writer." This caused me to develop a very fixed mindset about my writing. And this is something that played out in Carol Dweck's research as well. In her studies, she looked at children. She discovered that children who are praised for being smart or for being good at a particular skill developed a fixed mindset. On the other hand, children who are praised for the amount of effort that they put into their work developed a growth mindset. I was praised for how well I wrote. As a result, I failed to see the value in practicing my writing craft since I was already so good at it. This belief has caused my writing to remain stagnant. In those moments when I received criticism on something that I had written, or if I submitted a piece of writing for publication and was rejected, as so many people are, I was crushed. I would give up and not write again for a long, long time. Now, compare this to my attitude toward public speaking. I hate public speaking. Early in my professional career, I would have actual panic attacks when I had to speak publicly in front of an audience. But I realized that the only way that I was not going to be afraid of public speaking was if I did it. So I've put myself into all kinds of situations where I have to speak in public. I deliver Connect Session orientation sessions, I have facilitated trainings for students and colleagues, and I teach ACA. And I gotta tell you, there is a lot of public speaking in ACA. I wouldn't say that I am perfect yet, and it's that yet that is at the heart of the growth mindset thinking. People who operate from a fixed mindset are threatened by the success of others instead of using it as a learning opportunity and inspiration. Those with a fixed mindset, as a result, will plateau early and not live up to their full potential. This confirms their sense that they have no control over their world. On the other hand, individuals with a growth mindset find inspiration in the success of other people. They reach high levels of achievement and understand that they have free will. They can control their environment. They are the captains of their ship. The wonderful thing about becoming aware of fixed mindset versus growth mindset is that we can learn to recognize it in ourselves and shift the way we think about the challenges we face. So rethink your brain and your thinking. Can you think of a time when you approached a challenge with a growth mindset? What did you tell yourself that helped you overcome the challenge? Or, if this concept is entirely new to you, consider a challenge you currently face that you could apply the growth mindset to. What can you tell yourself that will help you in overcoming the challenge?